So this video is the second part for semester 2 GED Advanced for grade 11, and it's the final assessment practice, and starting at question 15. And the question says, given that beta is the obtuse angle, so that's important, the obtuse angle, that means the angle is from bigger than 90 and less than 180, such that sine beta is 4/9, find the exact value of cos beta. Well, let's think about this. Sine beta is 4/9, and sine, if you think of your trig triangles, it's so and ka. So sine theta, sine angle, sine beta, is the opposite over the hypotenuse, which means that 4 is the hypotenuse and 4 is the opposite and 9 is the hypotenuse. And if I were you, I would put a triangle, a right angle triangle, put theta anywhere you want. I tend to put it at the bottom, and then I label, this is the opposite, this is 4, this is the hypotenuse, this is 9, and this is the adjacent. And what I need to find is the adjacent, because I'm asked to find cos beta, and cos is adjacent over hypotenuse, so your step 1 is to find the adjacent. And the adjacent, I'm finding the shorter side, so it's 9 squared minus 4 squared, which is root 65, and don't round anything. So cos beta is the adjacent over the hypotenuse, which is root 65/9. But I want to know whether this is a positive or it's in fact a negative. And for that, you need the diagram that you should know. It's not on your formula sheet, ASTC. This is 0 to 90, 90 to 180, 180 to 270, and then back to 360. So between 90 and 180, which is the obtuse angle, only sine is positive. Everything else is negative. Therefore, your final answer is going to be a cos beta is negative, not this one, that one, root 65/9. Where's my negative root 65/9? Not even that one. Negative root 65/9. Okay, and this one says find the coefficient of x squared in the expansion of 1 plus 3x to the power of 8. I always put the expansion for the first term just to see how things work. So 8c0, the first term to the power of 8, and the second term to the power of 0. And I notice that the number at the bottom, the r, because it's NCR, is the same as the power for the second term. So I want the second term to be x squared. So I'm going to put 3x squared. And I want 8c2 and 1 to the power of 6, because those two together have to add up to 8. And then I'm going to get my calculator, and you put, let's move that here, 8, and then shift C2, I can press equals, times 1 to the power of 6 is 1, so I don't really need that, and then times 3 squared, and that is 252, and again, 252, I need to change that into the Word document, so you should find it in your answers. So on your calculator, you're doing 8c2 times 3 squared, and you get 252, and the answer is here. And question 17 is a definite integration again, but you have to integrate each part, and your step 1 is to change that into a negative index. So this goes from 5 to 2, 4x cubed minus 5x to the power of negative 4 plus 2, and I'm integrating. Now integrate each part. So I'm adding 1 to that, so this is x to the power of 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1, so I leave it. And this is x to the power of negative 3, because I add 1 to that. And I'm going to do negative 5 divided by negative 3, and so that should give me a plus 5 over 3. And then the 2 simply becomes plus 2x. I close my brackets, and I'm going to substitute the 5 and the 2 into each section. You probably should do that onto your calculator one step at a time, and I'll show you. So each x becomes a bracket. You put the power outside the bracket. Plus 5 over 3 brackets, 5 inside, negative 3 outside, plus 2 to the power of 5. And then you're subtracting, and you open the other bracket and you put the 2 in. So 2 to the power of 4 plus 5 over 3. 2 to the power of negative 3 plus 2 times 2. And you will get your brackets, your calculator. I'll put it here. Yep, and do the first one separately. So 5 to the power of 4 plus 5 over 3, and that's 5 to the power of negative 3, and then plus 2 times 5, and you get 47,626 over 75. And you do the same with the other one, and you get minus 485 over 24. And then you do your subtraction, and you get 614.805. Okay. And question 18, it says, in a university, 15% of students are members of the university dance club. Only 30% of the university dance club members can dance the tango. Find the probability that the student is a member of the university dance club, so they are a member, so they're part of the 15%, but they can't dance the tango. The first thing to do is to find the probability of people who can't dance the tango. And that is 1 minus 0.3, which is 0.7. And then you want member and can't dance. So you're finding the probability that they're a member and can't dance. Remember, and is a multiplication. So they are a member, 0.15, times that they can't dance the tango, 0.7, and you get the answer 0.105, which is this one. So bag A and bag B contain only red and blue beads. The probability of choosing a red ball from the bag is 1/3. The probability of choosing there's 2 reds, a blue ball, or is it a red ball? No, red ball from bag B is 0.4. Okay, so red for A is 1/3, red for B is 0.4. Find the probability that 2 balls chosen are the same color. That means that it's either red and red or blue and blue. So the probability red and red, or the probability blue and blue. Red and red is 1/3 times 0.4. Blue and blue is 2/3 times 0.6. Remember, or means plus, and when you put that into your calculator, you'll get 8/15. Now, for this question, you need to really know all the tricks and all the different variations of the identities. So the two identities that you have, tan x equals sine x over cos x. You should also know that 1 over tan x is the opposite, the reciprocal of this, cos x over sine x. And the other identity is sine squared x plus cos squared x equals 1. But also you need to remember that sine squared x is 1 minus cos squared x. And cos squared x is 1 minus sine squared x. And you need to know that, not just for this question in the practice, but for the question in the final assessment. So it says sine x plus cos x divided by tan x is equivalent to which expression below? So sine x plus, let's break this down. This is the same as saying cos x times 1 over tan x. That gives us cos x divided by tan x. And this can be rewritten sine x plus cos x times that, cos x over sine x. Well, that together becomes sine x plus cos squared x over sine x. Cos x times cos x is cos squared x. Now, I can't do much with this addition unless this becomes a fraction and they have the same denominator. I can't add fractions unless they're the same denominator. So I'm going to multiply the bottom, the denominator, by sine x. I'm going to multiply the top, the numerator, by sine x. Sine x times sine x is sine squared x over sine x plus cos squared x over sine x. Well, remember, now I can add the numerators and I leave the denominator the same, and this gives me 1. 1 over sine x, not sine squared x. When you're adding, the denominator stays the same. So your final expression is this. But just keep your mind to these and the different variations so that you can manipulate the expression given. Okay, so question 21. The first 3 terms of a geometric sequence are given. These term 1, term 2, term 3, and it's a geometric sequence. So it's a common ratio R that connects the terms. And it says k is an integer, which means a whole number. The word constant is different. The word constant means it's a number, but it can be a fraction. Integer means a whole number. It can be shown that k satisfies the equation 2k squared minus 39k plus 187 equals 0. Given that the series converges, that means that R is smaller. Basically, R is between 0 to 1. R is a fraction. That's what it means. So given that R is a fraction, the common ratio is a fraction, find the value of k and find the value of the sum to infinity. Well, the first thing you can do to find k is to solve that equation. So show your workings. You've got the quadratic formula, which should be in your formula book, minus b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac over 2a. That's going to give you k. It will give you two values, and you have to choose which one. So minus b, so let's put a is 2, b is negative 39, so negative b is positive 39. And c is 187. So your workings should be 39 plus or minus square root 39 squared. It doesn't matter if you put negative 39, but when you square it, it will become positive anyway. Minus 4 times a times c divided by 2 times 2, 2a. You could put 2 times 2, or you could put 4. It doesn't matter. That's good workings. And then put it in your calculator, or even use the solver and check. You get two values. K is 11 and K is 8.5. Make a point of crossing the 8.5. You are told that K is an integer. When you get the two values, you can decide, because you've got two things that you're told. K is an integer, and it's a constant. If you're told it's a constant, that it means it's a number. Now, you want to find what r is. Well, to find r, you would divide the second term by the first term. So firstly, let's find the first term, a. A is 7 times k, 7 times 11, plus 3, which is 80. The second term, u2, is 13 minus 3 times k, which is negative 20. Therefore, the common ratio is negative 20 over 80, which is negative a quarter. Now, you know that this works because we know that the series converges, which means that r is a fraction. If you get a value of k, let's say you get two whole numbers and you don't know which one to choose, you would substitute it here and find r, and the value of k that gives you r is a fraction is the value you choose, because the series converges. Okay. So now that we have r, we can find the sum to infinity. The sum to infinity is a over 1 minus r. Well, a is 80 divided by 1 minus, and then r is negative a quarter, and that gives you 64. So k is 11. And the sum to infinity is 64, and you needed to find r to be able to find the sum to infinity. Question 22 says the curve C has the equation y equals x cubed. The finite region bounded by the curve C and the y-axis and the line x equals 3 is rotated 360 degrees about the x-axis. Use algebraic integration to find the exact volume in terms of pi of the solid generated. Well, when something is rotated around the x-axis, to be able to find the volume, you would need to integrate y squared in terms of x. And we have y, not y squared. And of course, remember you're multiplying by pi as well. So the volume is pi, and we're integrating y squared. So to get y squared, I need to square here and square there. So this is x cubed squared dx. So v equals pi. I'm integrating x to the power of 6 dx. And I'm going to integrate from 3 to 0. Why 0? Because it's bound by the line x equals 3 and the y-axis. So that's x equals 0. I integrate, so that becomes v equals pi. I'm going to add 1 to the power, so this is 7. Of course, this is 1, so I can write a 7th, or I can write it as a fraction like this. You're going to substitute the 6 only because this is going to give you a 0. So this is 2187 over 7 times pi. And that is the volume in terms of pi. Question 23. Osvaldo has a biased coin. He spins the coin 3 times. The probability that the coin lands on a head 3 times is 64 over 125. Work out the probability that the coin will land on a tail 3 times. Well, the probability of landing on heads 3 times is the probability of heads and heads and heads. That means heads times heads times heads, which is really heads cubed. So how can I find the probability of just a head? Heads cubed is 64 over 125. That means that the probability of getting heads is the cube root of 64 over 125. You put that into your calculator. So I've got shift cube root fraction 64 over 125, and you get 4/5. That means that the probability of tails is 1 minus 4/5, which is a fifth. So the probability of getting tails 3 times is t cubed. So it's 1/5 cubed, which is 1 over 125. Question 24 says 2 bags contain discs. Bag A contains 10 discs. 4 of the discs are red. 1 is blue. And 5 are white. Bag B contains 15 discs. N of the discs are red and the rest are blue. James takes at random a disc from bag A. Lucy takes at random a disc from bag B. The probability that James and Lucy both take a red disc is 4 over 25. Find the value of N, the number of red discs in the bag. Okay, so the probability, there are 10 discs in bag A. 4 of the discs are red. So the probability of getting a red is 4 out of 10 for bag A. For bag B, the probability of getting red discs is N out of 15 because we know that there are 15 discs. The probability of getting red and red is a multiplication, and that multiplication gives us 4/25. The first thing you need to do is multiply that. So that's 4 times n is 4n, 10 times 15 is 150, and that gives us 4 over 25. And what you need to do is now a cross multiplication. 25 times 4n is 100n. 150 times 4 is 600. And then you're going to divide by 100 and divide by 100, and you get n equals 6. This question says, figure 2 shows the straight line L1 with equations 3y equals 2x plus 9. The line L2 with equation y equals 2/3 x minus 12 is parallel to L1 and passes through the point E, which is 2013, as shown in figure 2. The line L2 cuts the x-axis at the point C and the y-axis at point B. The line L1 cuts the y-axis at point A. The point D lies on L1 such that ABCD is a parallelogram. Find the area of ABCD. So ABCD is a parallelogram. Well, the area of a parallelogram is base times height. You will not find that in your formula booklet. Base times height. So this is the height from O to C, and the base is A to B. So what we really need to do is find points A, B, and C. And to find that, we need the equation of line 1 and line 2 in the form y equals mx plus c. So let's start with L1. A is the y-intercept, so it's c. So y, we've got 3y equals 2x plus 9. So I need to divide everything by 3. So y equals 2/3 x plus 3. So A is 3. And then I want to find L2, and L2, I need two things. I need B. B is the y-intercept, I already have it. B is negative 12. But I want to find C. C is the x-intercept. The x-intercept happens when y is 0. So 0 equals 2/3 x minus 12, and I want to find x. So I'm going to move the negative 12 to the other side. 12 equals 2/3 x. I'm going to multiply by 3. So that gives me 36 equals 2x, and x equals 18. Now the height goes from 0 to 18, so the height is 18. And the base goes from negative 12 to 3. So that's 12 plus 3, which is 15. So the base is 12 plus 3, which is 15. The height is 18. And the area of the parallelogram is 15 times 18, and you just put that into your calculator and you get 270 units squared because it's area. Okay. Now, question 26 says the diagram shows the curve with equation of the form y equals cos x plus a plus b for between 0 to 2 pi. Now, please note that these signs are generic. You have to decide what kind of movement has taken place. So, I'll start with saying that you are comparing the original graph and you're comparing the turning points. So your step one really has to be sketch the original graph and label. So this is the cos graph from 0 to 2 pi. So I go from, looks like this. This is 1, and this is -1. And that's a turning point. And the turning point here is 0, 1. Of course, this is x and y. And then I look at, and that's the first turning point that I have. And I look at the first turning point in the question, and the first turning point in the question is this. And it's very clear that x is pi over 3 and y is 0. So pi over 3 and 0. I'm going to find b first, because b affects the y coordinates and a affects the x coordinate. So I've gone from 1, that's the original, to 0. So what I've done is I've subtracted 1. So b is -1. And I've gone from 0 to a positive pi over 3. I've moved to the right by pi over 3. And if you remember, any transformation inside the bracket does the opposite. So if it looks like I've added pi over 3, a is actually a negative pi over 3. So the equation here is cos x minus pi over 3. So it's going to be x minus pi over 3 and then -1. That's the answer for question 26. And then question 27 says, find the value of this expression. And you note that there is a ... So there's quite a bit of space between the last digit, the 49, or -49, and the 8. And you need to take that into account. But let's basically show you the trick. How am I going to find that? I'm going to split them into subtractions. If you look at the first subtraction, 60 minus 57, that's 3. And if you look at the next one, 56 minus 53, that's 3. And if you keep looking, 52 minus 49, that's also 3. And 8 minus 5 is 3, 4 minus 1 is 3. So all of these subtractions give the value of 3, and you need to note how many lots of 3 do you have. So this is 1, 2, 3, and you need to keep going. So note the pattern. 60 minus 57, and then we go to 56. And then 56 minus 53, and then we go to 52. Not minus 3, but minus 53. So I'm going down in 3s. So the subtraction gives me a 3, but from 53 to 52. So I go from 49. This is 49. So the next one is going down. So it's 48. And it's minus 45. because that gives me 3. And from 45, I go down to 44. And 44 minus 3 is 41. And then from 41, I have to go to 40 because I go down by 1. And minus 3 is going to give me 37. And then from 37, I go to 36. Minus 3 is 33. And then from 33, I go to 32. Minus 3 is 29. And from 29, I go to 28. Minus 3 is 25. From 25, I go to 24. Minus 3 is 21. 21, I go to 20. Minus 3 is 17. I go to 16. Minus 3 is 13. And I go from 13 to 12. Minus 3 is 9. And I have now got to the 8 to 5, which is already there. So I need to find out how many I've done. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. This is 14. And this is 15. So there are 15 lots of 3. So 15 times 3 is 45. And again, I need to change the answers here. So the answer is 45. So 45. Okay, and the last question says the curve y equals f of x is such that when I differentiate, so this is dy over dx, I get 2 over root x. The curve passes through the point 9, 8. What is the equation of the curve? So if you're finding the equation of the curve, you need to integrate if you're given dy over dx. So step 1 is I'm going to integrate 2 over root x in terms of dx. But of course, I can't integrate a fraction, so I have to turn this into 2x to the power of negative a half. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to integrate. So this is x. I'm going to add 1. So it gives me x to the power of a half. And I'm going to divide this 2 by a half plus c. And I get 2 divided by half is 4. So this is 4x to the power of a half, or you can write it as root x plus c. And because it's an equation of a curve, you need to write y equals. Now you are given a coordinate. This is x, this is y. And you can substitute. So the y becomes an 8 equals 4 root 9 plus c. So this is 8 equals 4 times 3. If you put it into your calculator, 4 root 9 will give you 12 plus c. And of course, you need to reverse that to find c. Minus 12 minus 12. So you get c equals negative 4. So the equation is y equals 4 root x minus 4, which is here. And that is the end of the second video for the final assessment for semester 2.